I got a bad feeling yesterday morning. Rivers and I were talking about it before we went on the air this morning about Will Wade's demeanor yesterday here during his interview. I think he actually yawned during an answer where you're not used to the energy
Seemed a little,
or the enthusiasm being drained out of the LSU head basketball coach. That's usually one of his strengths, and what he brings to his team is a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm, especially on game day. So I really thought 24 hours ago when he joined us at 7:30 on Wednesday morning that LSU might have been in trouble. Then the game tipped off, and it was never close. Really, Skylar Mays, who consistently all season long has probably been LSU's best player from start to finish, had his worst game that I can remember. I've been calling Skylar's games since he was a sophomore in high school at University High, and I've never seen him just look as out of it as he was last night. I think that he may have been sick. I don't want to claim anything, but I mean, he missed a dunk. He whiffed on a layup. He missed wide open looks at threes. He looked a step and a half slow on defense. I mean, it just looked like something was off with LSU's leader last night.
Yeah, look, just kind of by its definition, right? Everybody has to have their worst game sometime, and you never quite know when that comes. But it just comes at a moment when LSU seems to be struggling in so many other areas that it's probably even more visible because there wasn't anything last night to cover it up. Like nobody. It wasn't like. Think about last year's Tennessee game, right, where Naz Reid gives you, 1 rebound and 0 points? Or no, he had rebounds. 1 point is what it was, right?
10 boards or
something. But then Javonte Smart out of nowhere just goes off, and he managed to fill that gap in the production. There were no gap fillers last night. It's because there's the depth. There's not a lot of people left, especially with Charles Manning being hurt again.
Well, yeah, I mean, you saw guys like James Bishop get extended minutes last night. Marshall Graves was out there for an extended time. And, look, the news going into the game was devastating for LSU. I mean, Charles Manning Jr., who in a limited time in return coming back from a foot injury a couple of weeks back, had really given you positive minutes and then started to grow into somebody back that the coaching staff could trust and put out there for extended minutes. And then come to find out yesterday in the pregame, Wade announces that Manning, coming off of a foot injury on the left side, now he's got the same injury on the other foot.
Yeah.
And he's got to have surgery, and he'll be out 4 to 6 weeks. There's a possible timetable to get him back late in the season. But again, I mean, what are we doing? Once you get back, he's got to work in. Manning's a wash at this point for the season. And your depth is just there's none. I mean, there was zero depth before Manning came back. He gave you a little bit of relief once he stepped in. Now you take him out, and they looked lost. I mean, last night was under Will Wade's direction. That was as unengaged as I've seen the LSU basketball program in 40 minutes of competition that I can recall. And, you know, Wade acknowledged that in the postgame. I think he said it straight up in one of his sound bites. I think this is the second one, Rivs, of him talking about, look, it was just never close.
We got destroyed. So Keontae Johnson destroyed us. Lewis destroyed us. We just got hammered. There's not a whole lot really to say. There's not a whole lot of analysis or anything you can say. We got our tails whipped, and so we got to do the same thing Florida did. You know, Florida had a tough road loss at Kentucky and came back and whipped us, and we got to turn around and get ready to go home. And we're going to certainly have to play much better against Texas A&M.
I think that one stat that really exemplifies last night LSU just getting whooped, bullied all night, was that Florida shot 55% inside the paint and had 48 points inside the painted area last night. I mean, they just got to the rim whenever, however they wanted to. And once they got there, there was no contest. I mean, there was no contesting of any types of shots at the rims. LSU just didn't look aggressive. They looked checked out. And like I said, I mean, you could almost feel it yesterday morning when Wade was here. I mean, every time we get him, whether it's a game day or a day after a game, he's always got his energy and enthusiasm. It doesn't matter if he stops by at 7:15 or 8:45. Yesterday he was here at 7:30 on an enormous game day, and he yawned in the middle of a question. I mean, it's just very out of character. And LSU basketball looked out of character last night.
Yeah, so I guess the question is, where do they go from here, right? They are now tied for third place in the SEC. They're tied with Florida, both teams at 10-5. What that means, so they still have the double bye, but they're only one game ahead of South Carolina. You got to go home this weekend. You're hosting Texas A&M. That's a game that's going to be the best team rating schedule. Then you go to Arkansas, Well, they're 4-11 on the year. You got Georgia at home, and you got a lot to play for. If you're talking about lack of depth, well, if you're going to have success in a tournament type of setting, you need that double bye to maybe have success there. But maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself because they don't even look like a team that's playing in the form to threaten a tournament win. I guess my question is, what exactly happened to the juice from earlier this year? Like where did this all turn? What went wrong? Obviously now the Vanderbilt game feels much more impactful than it did at the time. Feels like kind of a harbinger of doom. But what do you think, man? What is the difference from the team that started 8-0 to the one that is now 2-5 in their last 7?
Look, I'm not making any excuses for the basketball program, but just watching them play and seeing a college basketball season up close like I have going back to the Brady days, they've hit the wall. The wall is real. I mean, the wall is real in sports, whether it's a freshman wall for first-year players or whether it's a team wall for a team that is limited in players and depth. I think that LSU looks gassed. They just look whooped, and there's great landmarks that we can point to. I think yesterday's interview with the head coach is one of them. Last night's performance by Skylar Mays looked like one of them. If he wasn't sick, he looked exhausted. I mean, how many times has people around this area in this city watched Skylar Mays play basketball? He's always checked in. I mean, even on bad nights, he looks good. Last night, he looked terrible, and he just looked gassed. And this is not a shot at Mays. We all love Mays. He's LSU's best player. But I think it's a great example of where they are. Whether he was sick or he was exhausted, he just looked unengaged last night. And I think that this team, from an overall standpoint, has hit the wall. I mean, they are going in the opposite direction of where you want to be headed at this point in the college basketball season.
Yeah.
You want to you want to, at this time, to be starting to play your best basketball, starting to look towards March, starting to understand what those rotations and the depth looks like. LSU is now playing guys that they haven't played all season long, like James Bishop and Marshall Graves, looking for answers, in the middle and late February. Not middle, late February, going into March. To me, man, they better hang on for dear life to get into the tournament at this point, because I don't know.
I mean, they should win these final 3, though, even struggles notwithstanding. I mean, I know that Vanderbilt's lacked.
Yeah, 5 of the last 6, and they everybody knows how I feel about the head coach and how I feel about the program, but we got to be honest in the sense in the analysis of where they are right now. I mean, next year they got a great recruiting class coming in. Josh LeBlanc's on staff. I mean, everything looks great for next season. At this point right now in the 2020, 2019, 2020 campaign, they look done. They look gassed.
Yeah.
I mean, you tell me, where is the bright spot?
I was going to ask you, can they get the juice back, right? I mean,
sure.
Look, if you're looking for some sort of silver line without getting into specifics, like I mentioned in headlines, basketball is a marathon, not a sprint, and these seasons have these kind of crazy ebbs and flows, right? And so you're going to go through down streaks, and I mean, I think the Pelicans are a perfect example of that. They December 18th. The New Orleans Pelicans were sitting there at 6-22. 6-22. They are now 25-33, and actually, according to ESPN's analytics, they have like a 67% chance of getting that A seed and winning that race. So that is a team that came back from the dead. Can this LSU basketball team find a similar path out of their own run? I'm not so sure, because at least with the Pelicans, you guys hurt, you guys returning. I don't know that Superman's not walking through that door.
And you can see that opponents around LSU smell blood. I mean, you can look at the scouting reports.
Feel confident.
The way that LSU is being attacked right now. I mean, last night we give you the stat that Florida shot at 45 or 55% inside the paint, but they were inside that area all night. The scouting reports out. It's either they're limited on depth or they're poor defensively and attack the rim. And when you do that to a limited depth team, to a team that doesn't have a lot of players on the bench, they check out and get gassed very early. I mean, last night, Florida is a great example when you have somebody that's your primary ball handler, your primary point guard in Nembhard, who can get you out of any types of situation. Tremont Waters did it for LSU for the previous 2 seasons. When he would catch an inbounds pass, turn around and see the defense standing straight in front of his face, and he's got to go 94 feet to get it down the floor, he could break that by himself.
Yeah.
LSU doesn't have that guy when they turn around and see the Javonte freaks out when he sees the defense standing 94 feet away from the rim guarding him. He doesn't want any part of that. LSU doesn't have that primary point guard. Nembhard played 36 minutes last night, controlled it every possession, and didn't turn it over one time. That's what you need in your point guard. LSU doesn't have that this season. And when you get on the road in a situation where you're outmanned, you're gassed, you have no energy, you got to have one player where you say, hey, man, bail us out. Tremont Waters did this for LSU the last 2 seasons. They ain't got that guy in 2020. He's just not around. Maybe he'll be there in 2021, but I just don't see how LSU right now can find that juice.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're going to have Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf on tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'd love to get those 2 years of eligibility he's got remaining.
I think.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I think
that's what they're looking for.
I think that would be pretty
That'd
incredible
be awesome.
if you get the guy that was scoring like 40 a game back.
Average 30 as a freshman.
That would be nice.